hello, hello. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get started in like 6 minutes. Broadcasting from another studio today. This is originally the Spanish station, but I'm still going to be on 93.9 live. But they stuck me in here because we're having some technical difficulties in the other studio. So this is where I got to be. But this is good. This is good.
For this press, which I...
All right. Hey, Wade. I couldn't text you back because I'm recording with my phone. If you had an iPhone, I could text you on my iPad. Why did you drop the iPhone, by the way? Why did you switch to another phone? Wade, let me know if you cannot hear the show on the radio so I can tell them, because we're having some issues with the live. If you don't care. This studio is a lot nicer than the one over there. I'll be honest with you. my buttons didn't come up. No, there they are. Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you could stream the show live from the station website at MediaLex.us to listen to us from anywhere in the entire world. I am broadcasting from the WLXU studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. It is February the 5th, 2026. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are having some technical difficulties in Studio 1, so I am broadcasting in Studio 2, which may seem a little different coming across the air. I cannot even hear my music playing in the background, my intro music. So if you are not hearing any music and you are just hearing me, you're hearing what I am. But my producer said that the music will play over the radio, but only time will tell. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Folks, I'm still coming down off of the weekend that I had. As I told you guys, I was nominated for a World Entertainment Award. My show was Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, and I didn't think that Off the Cuff with Adam Banks had a chance. Not because I doubted my ability to win that award, but it just seemed like such a long shot because of the amount of people who applied for that podcasting category. Well, Off the Cuff with Adam Banks did take home the gold. I won the award. The award was a huge golden statue, about 13 and a half inches, just like the Oscar statue. And I won that award. They're supposed to be mailing it to me soon. And I was shocked when they called my name. I could not believe it. I almost spit out what I was drinking. And now it's one of my biggest regrets in the world that I didn't get to attend the show. I wasn't able to attend the show live in Los Angeles, but to still win and to still find out, even if it was from afar, sitting in Kentucky, it was still just as exciting. They say that this award show is the one award for entertainment. It says the mission of the World Entertainment Awards is to honor, recognize, and reward excellence, outstanding talents, and the creative spirits across all mainstream media entertainment. It says that the custom-made statue is like the Oscar, 13 inches tall. Every submission is carefully reviewed for consideration. It says the entertainment world has evolved whereby artists shaping today's culture not only create music, but also film, fashion, podcast, amongst other things, and vice versa. There was multiple nominees per category, but only one winner. The World Entertainment Awards was held on January the 31st. That was over the weekend, last Saturday, at the iconic Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles, just one day prior to the Grammy Awards. And the award show brings together the biggest and the brightest from film, music, television, and other creative fields to celebrate the best and most creative of the year. The event is known for its glamorous, star-studded Hollywood red carpet arrivals and spectacular live performances. Like I said, I never got to attend the show, so I can't talk much about what the event was like itself, but watching all of the videos online, watching the acceptance speeches online, it looked just like a looked just like an award show that you would see on television. I was so impressed with how that come about, and I just couldn't believe it. Thank you so much, Wade, on the show thread for saying congratulations. Wade, how is the show sounding across the radio? Can you hear me? Am I coming across live at all? Because I am having a fear that this show is not even being broadcasted live. But let me know if you can. Folks, I was amongst some big hitters in that category. I was amongst some big hitters at that award show. Just looking here at some of the people who were also awarded at the World Entertainment Awards for Best Pop Rap Performance. Doja Cat won for her performance in Paint the Town Red. The Best Stunt Performer went to Zoe Bell, who was a stunt double on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Best Supporting Actress was Divine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers. And Best Traditional Album was You're the One. Best Traditional Global Album was Yoso Devore. Best Cinematography was from Dune Part 2. Best Awareness Song went to Her for The Journey. And then Best Actor went to Barry Keoghan. And Best Director, listen here, went to Christopher Nolan from Oppenheimer. And Best Actress was Emma Stone from Poor Things. So folks, I was at an award show. I wasn't physically there, but I was recognized amongst some of Hollywood's elite. And winning an award show locally is one thing, and I'm so appreciative of winning local award shows. But the fact that I was recognized at a world stage, on a world stage, at a worldwide event amongst so many other celebrities in Los Angeles, California, it just blows my mind. I absolutely cannot believe it. And I am so thankful to everyone who has supported Off the Cuff over these years. Every listener that listens, you guys are the heartbeat of the show. Everyone who works on this show, whether it be helping me co-host, whether it be doing things behind the scenes, such as images and graphics and videos, this award is just as much yours as it is mine. And I am so thankful for all of the hard work that you have done over these years. I started this show as a podcast back in 2014. It got on the radio in 2019, and here we are 7 years later. And to be recognized, it really blows me away. It boggles my mind, and I am just so thankful. I am full of gratitude. Thank you guys so much. I've been receiving so many nice messages from people, so many sweet messages from people. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. It only fuels me to want to make this show even better than what it is, make this show grow more than what it has. Because when you get recognized, sometimes you feel like that nobody listens, nobody's paying attention. So when you get something like this, it really just drives me to want to do more. So I just want to thank everybody for that. Folks, it is a big weekend. Super Bowl 60 is coming up this Sunday, February the 8th at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. This is one Super Bowl I feel like nobody is talking about. If you're not watching ESPN, where have you heard news about the Super Bowl coming up? I've not heard anybody talk about it. I've not heard anybody even mention it. I was talking to my students this morning, asking who they were taking in the Super Bowl, and they asked, well, who's in the Super Bowl? I can't remember a time when people just didn't even know who was playing in the Super Bowl, but nobody has a clue. New England Patriots will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls in their time as a franchise. The Seattle Seahawks has only won 1. 6 times for the Patriots. They've not won a Super Bowl since the legendary Bill Belichick and Tom Brady left the team. So this is a huge moment for the Patriots. This is for the Patriots to prove that they are more than just a team for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The Seahawks have reached their 4th Super Bowl appearance, their first since 2015. And the quarterbacks, if you're wondering who the quarterbacks are for the two teams, Sam Darnold is the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, and the quarterback for the Patriots is Drake May. The coaches for the Patriots is Coach Mike Vrabel. He is the former NFL linebacker who played for the Patriots and previously served as the head coach for the Tennessee Titans from 2018 to 2023. The Seattle Seahawks head coach is Mike Macdonald, who was born back in 1987, just 1 year before I was. He is my age exactly, 38 years old. He is the youngest head coach in the history of the NFL. He was hired at the age of 36 years old. Age is just a number. So whenever you see a coach come onto a team that is young, don't fret. Don't think there's anything wrong with that, folks, because a young coach can do just as much as a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old. We've got this guy who was hired at 36 years old, 2 years. 2 years with the Seattle Seahawks, and he's already got his team in the Super Bowl. Quite remarkable. Now, for the national anthem being sang at the Super Bowl, Charlie Puth will be singing that. He will be performing, joined by Brandy Carly, who will be performing America the Beautiful, and Coco Jones will be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, if you are a bettor like me, you are probably wondering what kind of cool prop bets can we make at the Super Bowl this Sunday. Well, let's go over some of them. You can obviously you can obviously bet on the coin toss, heads or tails. It's a 50-50 chance. You can bet for the coin to be heads. You can bet for the coin to be tails. You can bet on national anthem props. The national anthem length has become a Super Bowl tradition. Sports Spec, they set the over and under typically around 90 to 120 seconds, depending on the performer. And you can either bet that the performer will go under that time or over that time. Bad Bunny will be performing and headlining the Super Bowl halftime show. There are all kinds of halftime show prop bets that you can make. For instance, you could bet on the first song that Bad Bunny will perform. You could even bet on the number of songs he will sing during the halftime performance. You can make a bet on whether specific guest performers will appear. And you can also bet on the color of the performer's outfit when he first starts singing. So all kinds of weird random bets that you can make at the Super Bowl. That's why everybody watches the Super Bowl, right? Besides the commercials, besides the halftime show, people are watching the Super Bowl to make bets. And these prop bets is what makes the Super Bowl so unique. Usually these prop bets don't pop up other than the Super Bowl. Typically it's the same old boring bets. Who's going to win the game? Who's going to score this many touchdowns? Who's going to get this many rushing yards? But for a Super Bowl, you get to bet all of these fascinating prop bets. You can also make broadcast prop bets. For instance, you can bet on which brand airs the first advertisement when it comes to the commercials. You can bet on the color of the Gatorade, the liquid that will be poured on the winning coach, whether it be blue, orange, green. You can make a bet on what color you think it is. And you can also bet on which player the broadcast announcers will name first during the broadcast. What name will they say first? I think it's a good chance that they're going to say a quarterback's name first. But hey, there's no more bankable bets here on Off the Cuff. I've not been very good at making bets, so I'm not going to give you my suggestion. The only thing I will say, the odds are very high for a quarterback to be named first. Now, this is a little interesting because for the first time ever, the halftime show will be having a competing show going against it. Turning Point USA has released a lineup for an alternative Super Bowl halftime concert to play during the same time as NFL's Bad Bunny's halftime show. And this is from Turning Point, which is the conservative organization that was founded by the late Charlie Kirk. Kid Rock will be headlining the show there. It's almost like a David versus Goliath type of competition. Most people just will have the regular NFL halftime show on because they've already got it tuned in. And I feel like a lot of people think they will miss something if they don't watch the actual halftime show. And when it's all said and done, what do people usually do? They just go back to YouTube and they watch both shows. But it's all about ratings. Who's going to win the ratings? Will it be the Turning Point USA show, or will it be the NFL halftime show? I'm going to say the NFL halftime show will win. Bad Bunny, even though a lot of people don't know who he is, a lot of people don't know his music, I still think that episode or that performance will outdo the Turning Point USA performance. Now, the Super Bowl does take place this Sunday, February the 8th. It's in California. No worry for snow in California. It's always pretty. It's always sunny. And that's probably why they usually have it in a very warm climate. But the Super Bowl 60, big year, Super Bowl 60 will take place this Sunday. And next week on the show, we'll be talking all kinds of things post Super Bowl. How the national anthem went. How the halftime show went. We'll talk about the favorite commercials, and of course, we'll talk about the game. But folks, we do have a great show ahead of you today. You are listening to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Oh, I can't hear any of these commercials. Diego, if you're listening, do you hear the commercials? Because I don't hear them.
Nunca corra durante una redada. Nunca contraataque si está siendo arrestado o detenido. Tiene derecho a negarse a firmar cualquier documento antes de hablar con su
I turned that on.
No, you should.
Oh, no.
But everything sounded great.
Okay, so how come these don't play out?
You can't hear it.
Okay, but you can hear it on the radio?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. How can you hear this? You can hear it by maybe pressing this. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you can hear it on the other side.
Okay, thanks, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but everything sounds great.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Bad Bunny playing in the background. He will be performing and headlining this year's Super Bowl performance. The thing about Bad Bunny is I don't have a problem with Bad Bunny performing the Super Bowl. It's just I can't understand his music. I mean, Spanish music is beautiful. That's why you can go into a Mexican restaurant and still enjoy the music they play. You don't understand a word they say, but it's still a beautiful sound. So I think this Super Bowl is going to be all about their performance, the dancing, the graphics, the glitz, the glamour, and less about the lyrics being sang. You can really listen to an artist, listen to the beat, listen to how they perform, and not even worry about the lyrics. And I think that that's exactly what this type of Super Bowl is going to be. Now, it is amazing that not many people have been talking about the Super Bowl because it is always the highest rated event worldwide every single year. It beats out everything. More people tune in to the Super Bowl than any other televised event all year. It is America's event, no doubt. And folks, there has been a lot of things, a lot of memorable things that have happened at the Super Bowl. And we've talked about on this show before some of the most memorable moments from the Super Bowl. But what I would like to talk about in honor of the Super Bowl coming up is some strange but memorable moments in Super Bowl history. Now, when I say the word strange, that's exactly what I mean. Just things that are kind of off the beaten path, things that are just a little strange that happened during the Super Bowl. So I have compiled a list here of some strange but memorable moments in Super Bowl history. Now, the older you are, the easier it is to remember some of these things. Some of the things that I will be talking about, you may have not even been alive when this stuff happened. For instance, This first clip that I'm going to let you hear, I wasn't even alive when it happened. It happened on my birthday, but in 1985, 3 years before I was born. And I'm talking about when President Ronald Reagan, for the first time ever, did a virtual coin toss. Now, all the time they have a coin toss to determine which team is going to get the ball first or not get the ball first. And they usually have somebody come on the field, flip the coin, and it's usually a special guest of some kind, maybe a celebrity, maybe a lucky fan, but it's always somebody special that they let flip the coin. Well, back in 1985, President Ronald Reagan flipped the coin, but he didn't do it in person. He did it virtual. And the reason this would be considered a little strange but memorable, because folks, it was 1985. This was way before the time of Teams and Zoom and virtual calling and Skype. That stuff didn't even exist. So anytime you had anything virtual like that, it was always just unique. So when they had Ronald Reagan flip this coin back in 1985, it was definitely strange but memorable. It was played in California back in the 80s, and it was the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Miami Dolphins, with the home state San Francisco team going on to win the game. So this is the moment, a very strange but memorable moment, when President Reagan tossed the coin for the Super Bowl back in 1985. And what is unique about this is it was on January 20th. And this was right after, just moments after, Ronald Reagan was inaugurated for the second term in his presidency. And if you know anything about President Ronald Reagan, he absolutely mopped the floor during that second term of his. I think he won 48 out of 50 states. So he was a very popular president. Everybody loved Ronald Reagan, including me. Ronald Reagan was the president when I was born, and I always hear nothing but great things about Reagan. So everybody just loved Ronald Reagan. So it made sense that Ronald Reagan would be the man to flip the coin. You wouldn't see that in today's age. There is no way the NFL would ask Donald Trump to flip the coin. But people loved Reagan back in 1985. So here he is, a very strange but memorable moment when Ronald Reagan flipped the coin to determine heads or tails of who was going to get the ball first. Take a listen.
Mr. McElhenney, it's a distinct pleasure and a privilege for me to be a participant, although I wish I could be a participant closer at hand. But who makes the call? It is tails. Well, thank you. It was a privilege. And all I can say is something that used to be a little prayer of mine when I played football myself. May everyone do their best. May there be no injuries. May the best team win. No one have regrets.
I love Ronald Reagan, man. He was just so real. You could hear him in the background saying, "Am I through?" I love Ronald Reagan. Yes, that was a cool moment for the country, for Ronald Reagan to flip that coin. And it was definitely unique because it was a virtual moment back in the 80s, a time when that stuff didn't happen. Now, this next one that I'm going to play for you is talking about Michael Jackson's Super Bowl halftime performance in 1993. Michael Jackson is known as one of the greatest performers of his generation, and his presence at the Super Bowl was so powerful that not just the Super Bowl, usually his presence was just so powerful, he would usually just stand motionless on the stage and receive a loud applause by not doing anything, just standing there in just a still pose, standing still, and he would get this huge applause from the audience. And he wanted to do that for the halftime show at the Super Bowl. And the unique thing about this is the director that was directing this halftime show, he got a call from Michael Jackson the night before the Super Bowl. And Michael was explaining to him that Michael said, I don't want you to start my music until I give you a certain cue. And the cue is going to be me taking off my sunglasses. When I take off my sunglasses, that means I want you to start the music. And he told him, he said, do not start the music until you see me touch my sunglasses. Well, the director made a promise to Michael that he wouldn't. But here's the thing. Michael Jackson was standing on the stage forever, a good 30, 45 seconds. And the director was going crazy. So I've got some behind the scenes audio of the director yelling at Michael Jackson in his ear, Michael, touch your sunglasses, pull them off, hurry. Because you got to think, this is the most watched show, live event in America or all over the world. And this director does not want to mess up. This director wants to put on a flawless show. So 10, 20 seconds of just standing there with nobody talking, nobody moving, it was driving the director crazy. And it's just a very unique behind the scenes audio from the director yelling at Michael Jackson. And here is the director telling the story of all of this going down. Take a listen.
2 days ahead of time, Michael called me at my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, I want to determine when the show starts. I have a concept for the beginning. And the cue was, I'm going to reach up and take my glasses off. And that's when you prepare to roll the trap. When he gets on the stage, he's like a general. He takes control. He takes command.
Michael, he always said, like, make them wait for it, you know? You gotta marinate in it. You gotta sit with it. So everybody, you build anticipation. And that's what he did.
When you're directing this, I mean, every second is like an eternity. And I start to just shout, Michael, damn it, take your glasses off.
Take 5. Come on, Michael, do it. Here we go. T. Baker. Here we go.
He can't hear me. I'm just losing it.
Come on, Michael, do it, baby.
I'm kind of just shouting into my headset. All the camera guys can hear me.
Come on, Michael.
But that was the deal that I had made with him, and I was not going to jump the cue.
Roll, V.T. Baker. Ready, shot 2. Number 2. Ready, shot 12.
He finally takes his glasses off. Talk about a relief for the director. Yes. Maybe one of the best Super Bowl halftime shows of all time. Just because it was Michael Jackson. I love it. Absolutely love that. And I thought that was such a cool piece of audio to find. The behind the scenes of that performance. Because you can find that performance anywhere on YouTube. But to actually find a video of what was going on behind the scenes was very, very unique. And I just love it that Michael could hear the guy screaming in his ear the whole time. Michael, take your glasses off. Hurry, hurry, hurry. And Michael was just ignoring him because Michael is a perfectionist. And he had in his head the very second that he was going to take his glasses off. And he wasn't going to take it off a second sooner. So could you imagine how mad Michael would have been if that director would have started the music before Michael wanted to? That director probably would have never directed anything else in the rest of his life. That's kind of the power Michael Jackson had back in the 90s. All right, coming up next, and the last one that I'll talk about, one of the most strange but memorable moments from the Super Bowl is Super Bowl 2013. They call it the Blackout Bowl. That's when all of the lights went out in the stadium. And they had a 34-minute delay due to a power outage, and the entire stadium went dark for 34 minutes in the middle of the game. It was at the height of a nail-biting clash between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, and all of the lights went out. It was a 73,000-seat building. And could you imagine the pandemonium that went on in that stadium when all of the lights went out for over 30 minutes? And the officials revealed that the abnormal power system triggered an automatic shutdown, which forced backup systems to kick in, and they ended up sitting there in the dark for 34 minutes. Now think about this, folks. Think about if your team is ahead and your team has all of this momentum, and then the power goes out and you can't continue the game, and you got to wait 34 minutes until you resume gameplay. That is going to kill the momentum for the winning team, and that gives the opposing team a chance to come back. Now, the Ravens ended up winning who was it that was in this Super Bowl? Was it the Ravens, or was it the 49ers, or was it both? Yes, it was both. And the 49ers ended up winning the game. So it didn't make a difference, but that blackout could have made a difference. Here is some audio from that fateful day. Take a listen.
All of the lights on the 49ers side of the Superdome are out. I can only imagine the scramble officials are going through. And this has lapsed into the surreal.
They're working on it now. They should have it up in 15 minutes. So if you want to let the benches know, where's that coming from? NFL control.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, why does the clock stop? Why is the clock stopped? It stopped for it stopped on 13:22 for 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden everything went out.
It was 13:22.
20-minute delay. 20 minutes? Hey, I'm reminded of that Motown song. There ain't no mountain high enough, and there ain't no valley low enough. And there is nothing that's going to keep us from winning this championship. Not this and not nothing. We're going to win this game.
It was a lot longer than 20 minutes. 34 minutes, as a matter of fact. Could you imagine how frustrated these teams had to be? Absolutely unbelievable. But folks, those were some strange but very memorable moments of the Super Bowl throughout time. Super Bowl 60 is coming up this Sunday, February the 28th on NBC. Kickoff will be at 6:30. Folks, stick around. We still have lots more Off the Cuff with Adam Banks coming your way after these words. We'll be right back. everybody to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. The Grammy Awards were held in Los Angeles this past Sunday. It was the 68th annual Grammy Awards. Of course, my girl Lady Gaga did perform her hit song Abracadabra, which you're hearing right now. She performed it only as Lady Gaga could. There was also some other big performances. Justin Bieber was a performance that everybody is talking about. You know, Justin Bieber, he took a page from Ed Sheeran's playbook. He created an electric guitar loop live on the stage, and he brought the entire arena to a hushed silence and sang every note of the song live. Say what you want about Justin Bieber. The man does have a good voice. It can be hard to root for Justin Bieber at times, but this was truly a sensational performance that he put on. And he said the symbolism behind him coming out in just his boxers to perform was he wanted to do a stripped down version of himself. He wanted to do a stripped down version of the song. So that's why he came down stripped out and nothing but his boxers. But he came out with his guitar wearing nothing but boxers and performed his song. Now, Reba McEntire, she also performed. It was her first time ever performing at the Grammys, as hard as that is to believe. There wasn't a single country nominee represented in the big four categories. And the 3-hour CBS spectacle lacked a dedicated country performance other than Reba McEntire. So it was unique to see Reba singing at the Grammys this year. Now, if you want a complete list of all of the winners at the Grammys, I have posted that on Off the Cuff's Facebook page. You can check that out at facebook.com/offthecuff with Adam Banks. But I do want to talk about some of the most memorable moments from the annual Grammy Awards. It was hosted by Trevor Noah. I'm not a big fan of Trevor Noah. I don't think he's funny. I think he thinks he's a lot funnier than what he is. I think he thinks he's a lot smarter than what he is. But, of course, he couldn't make it through the award show without making it political. Of course, he had to take stabs at the president while he was hosting. He even took stabs at Nicki Minaj.
Well, there you have it. Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants. Almost as much as Trump wants during that. Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it? Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nicki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby.
Okay, I gotta admit, that was kind of funny. But Trevor Noah did host the event for the night. Of course, it did get pretty political for a lot of people at the Super Bowl. A lot of people took to the stage to receive their award, and they made comments about ICE and other political issues, Billie Eilish being one of them. She went out and she said ICE out, and said something that she's getting a lot of backlash over. She said that no one is illegal on stolen land. And then she concluded by saying F ICE. And the critics started coming at her on social media, saying that they ended up finding out that Billie Eilish owns a multi-million-dollar home in Los Angeles that sits on an ancestral Togavan land, and many argued it was hypocritical to denounce stolen land while living on and benefiting from property built on indigenous territory. Take a listen at Billie Eilish.
And as grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land. say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter, and I don't want to say, sorry.
That little bleep was when she said the F word, referring to ICE. Bad Bunny kind of did the same thing when he got up to present his award.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm gonna say eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
All right, and I think my favorite speech of the entire night was from Jelly Roll, because what I love about Jelly Roll is he is unapologetically a Christian. He has no fear of getting up and proclaiming Jesus as his Savior, and he took no short of his belief at the Grammy stage when he got up to thank the one and only Jesus Christ at the Grammy Awards.
I was broken. That's why I wrote this album. I didn't think I had a chance, y'all. There was days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot shell. And I believed that those two things could change my life. I believed that music had the power to change my life, and God had the power to change my life. And I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord.
Gotta love Jelly Roll. It sounds like every time he gets up to speak, he puts on his preacher voice, and I'm here for it. I do love that. And you gotta think, folks, that takes a lot of guts to stand up in a room like Hollywood, in a room like the Grammys, and proclaim Jesus and talk about Jesus. Some other memorable moments from the Grammys was Cher making an appearance. She won the Lifetime Achievement Award, but it wasn't her speech that made headlines. She was asked to present an award for the night, and she ended up saying the winner was Luther Vandross. If you guys don't know this, Luther Vandross has been dead for like 15 years. And she said the winner was Luther Vandross, but the mistake that she made was Kendrick Lamar is actually who won the award for the record called Luther Vandross. So instead of her saying Kendrick Lamar is the winner, she read off the title of the song, which was Luther Vandross. It's like, Cher, did you not know that Luther was dead? Because she sounded so excited when she announced Luther Vandross as the winner.
And the Grammy goes to... Oh! They told me it was going to be on a... Oh, the Grammy goes to Luther Vandross!
Luther Vandross. Nope, Cher, he's been dead for a very, very long time. And then this was also a memorable moment from the Grammys. Alex Warren was performing his iconic song, and he was up for Best New Artist. And what happened during his performance is he had a lot of feedback from his earpiece getting in the way of him actually getting to, it was interfering with the way he was singing the song, and he was getting a lot of feedback, and it was throwing him off. I don't know if you have ever spoken to a microphone in an arena, but there is a huge echo, and that's why they have artists wear those earpieces so they can avoid the echo. Well, his earpiece malfunctioned and it wasn't working, and this is what Alex Warren sounded like during his Grammy performance. Take a listen. I mean, terrible, but I do feel sorry for him because it was out of his control. It was nothing he could do. You go and try to sing a song with that kind of feedback coming back in your ear. It would just be a horrible situation to have to deal with. But a lot of people were giving him flack over it. Hey, it's not that big of a deal, man. Chill out. You're going to be okay. I think people understand that technical difficulties do happen, just like it does on this show. All right, folks, we're going to take one more break. We've got one more segment to go right here on Off the Cuff. We'll be right back. Hey to everybody. Hey Donna, Papaw, good to see you on. How you feeling? Roxanne, hey. Pamela, hey. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. Many of you guys have already heard the tragic news and the very sad news that Home Alone star Catherine O'Hara has died at the age of 71 years old. The mom from Home Alone had a sudden death, and I think everybody across the country is mourning this death because Home Alone is such a cult classic in America. Everybody loves Home Alone. It's most people's favorite Christmas movie. People see Catherine O'Hara every single year pop up on their television screens during the holiday season, and Christmas is just not going to be the same knowing that she is now no longer with us. She passed away this past Friday at the age of 71 years old. She apparently had some type of heart issue where her heart was located on the right side of her body when it should have been on the left side of her body. I don't know if that was the actual cause of her death, but I would say it would have had something to have done with that. Catherine O'Hara, she also was the star of Schitt's Creek, and she was also the star of Beetlejuice. So she had tons of movies that people grew up watching. She even had a TV show, Schitt's Creek, where she won an Emmy for her performance. She was a hilarious actress. And I hated to hear that she passed away. So many people started pouring out tributes to Catherine O'Hara, including her on-screen husband, Eugene Levy, her on-screen son, which is Eugene Levy's son in real life. Macaulay Culkin even got on Instagram and paid tribute to Catherine O'Hara. It was a death that shocked everybody. Nobody seen it coming. It does. It really does cut deep when you grow up watching somebody and you hear that they pass. My thoughts and prayers do go out to Catherine O'Hara's family. Folks, today's national holiday is National Weatherman Day. The United States celebrates National Weatherman's Day, sometimes known as National Weather Person's Day. Every year on February 5th, it honors meteorologists, weather forecasters, and broadcast meteorologists, as well as storm spotters and observers. It says here that the weather reports began to be broadcasted on television in 1940. That's the first time that a TV weatherman appeared on screen. Now, here's the thing about TV weathermen. They are arguably the one with the most charisma on a newscast. Usually, the weatherman has more of a personality than the news anchors do. The weathermen can bring ratings to a news broadcast. A lot of people solely watch the news just to hear the weather. In 1958, France joins the list of countries to broadcast a daily weather report on television. Back in 1961, weatherman Dan Rather broadcast his weather report alerting people about a hurricane and saving thousands of lives. I had no idea that Dan Rather started his broadcast journey as a weatherman before he sat behind the anchor desk. Yes, he was a weatherman. Now, who would you say is the most famous weatherman today? Probably Al Roker, the weatherman from NBC's Today Show. Some interesting weather facts. It says that wildfires sometimes result in tornadoes of fire, known as fire worlds. Another fun fact, it's believed that cats and dogs can sense when a tornado is coming. Another fun fact, in July of 2001, there was a blood red rain in Kerala, India, where it rained red water. And it also says here that sandstorms can swallow an entire city, and heat waves can bend train tracks. Weather is fascinating. I'm not a big fan of weather. I could care less what it does outside. I know I should be more weather aware, but you have to appreciate weather at the end of the day, and you definitely have to appreciate the weathermen and women that get on TV and broadcast the weather. They're so important. They put themselves in danger. They put themselves in the line of fire during a storm or during a flood or during a hurricane, just to let the people at home know what's going on. So today is the day that we do celebrate weather people from all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps up this week's episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. If you liked what you heard today, you'll probably like our previous episodes. We archive them all on podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you stream your podcast. You can follow the show on social media at The Adam Banks. You can follow me, the host, on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. We release new episodes every Thursday from 4 to 5 right here on WLXU 93.9 FM, which means we will be back same time, same place. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the King of Radio, Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. I will catch you down the road. All right, guys, thank you.